Wind scours an empty plain. Ash drifts like gray snow across a trail of bare footprints. A mother pulls a child forward. Behind them, a red dusk and the glow of something burning. The herd is gone. The berries have soured with frost. Hunger sharpens, and hunger drives the tribe to move. Movement invites danger. Cliffs where footing fails. Rivers that swell and steal children. Eyes in the grass that see before being seen. Danger creates choice. Fight, flee, or think. Thought gives strategy. A circle of bodies, a ring of fire, a spear tipped with stone. Strategy brings survival, but never for long. The sky changes again, the ground cracks, and so they keep walking, carving a path through storms and predators, one deliberate step after another, toward a future none of them can name. Chapter 1. The Harsh World of Prehistory. Before roads and walls, the world was a raw edge. Ice pressed down from the north. Deserts breathed heat by day and bit with cold by night. Rain failed for seasons, then returned as floods that erased paths and memory. The map was written in animal trails and starlight. To live here required attention, listening for hoof thunder beyond the ridge, tasting the wind for rot or bloom, reading a scatter of broken twigs as clearly as a painted sign. Scarcity set the tempo. When the great herds shifted, people shifted with them. When a valley turned to dust, the tribe learned the shape of new horizons. Each change demanded payment in risk. Crossing a canyon on wet stone, sleeping beneath branches that might snap, drinking from a pool claimed by something larger. The lesson arrived simple and brutal: adapt or disappear. Chapter 2. Hunters and Gatherers. Survival began with eyes on the ground and hands in the grass. Women and men harvested what the season allowed: sweetness hidden in tubers, medicine in bitter leaves, protein clinging to beetle shells. The hunt was a choreography of patience, kneeling to measure the depth of a hoofprint, pinching a pellet to test its warmth, tracing a faint line of crushed dew to the shade where a herd might bed down. When the time came, bodies moved like one mind. Runners pressed the animals into a narrow cut of land. Others waited where the land forced a decision, left into briars, right toward a cliff. A stone flies, a spear hums, a throat opens to the cold air. Blood slicks the grass and steams. They thank the carcass with quiet hands. Nothing is wasted. Hide for shelter, sinew for bindings, bone for points. Cause and effect, written in meat. Chapter 3. Battles with Wild Beasts. Predators were not myths. They were neighbors. Cave lions coughed from the dark. Hyenas laughed where the firelight thinned. A shadow the size of a boulder rose from reeds. Hippo, temper clean as lightning. The tribe learned the art of distance, how far a spear can fly, how long a wounded boar can run, how close a mother cat will approach when cubs cry. Sometimes the battle arrived uninvited. Night, a rustle, the fire low. Eyes, two coals at the edge of vision. The circle closes, shields up, wooden frames covered with hide, smoke-stained and scarred. The leader counts breaths, not seconds. On 3, torches arc, embers lift like stars. The cat blinks, falters, disappears. Victory is measured in silence returning, in the slow unspooling of breath. And in that silence, resolve hardens. Next time, the fire stays high. Next time, the watch sleeps in shifts. Chapter 4. The Covenant of Fire. Fire was not a thing. It was a companion, and a difficult one. It needed feeding, attention, shelter from rain, but it gave back more than it asked. Flame pushed predators beyond the ring of light. Heat softened roots and seeds, unlocking hidden calories. Smoke wrapped a camp like a veil, thinning the swarm of insects. In the glow, faces became visible, wrinkles, smiles, fear, giving shape to empathy. Flame made time flexible. Evenings stretched as stories began. There was a river beyond the stone hills. The red fruit only ripens after 3 cool nights. Memory braided into strategy. Children listened, tracing constellations with sooty fingers, learning where to walk when the moon is thin. Around the coals, hands worked, shaping points, binding heads, testing the balance of a spear by feel. The fire taught a deeper lesson. If chaos is the wind, order is what we make in its shelter. Chapter 5. Tribal Unity, Tools, and Strategy. Alone, a person is fragile. Together, a tribe is an invention. Roles, rhythms, shared courage. Scouts moved ahead, reading the land. Foragers mapped edible seasons into the mine's calendar. Toolmakers chipped stone along invisible plains, sending sparks and flakes like rain. Every tool was a prophecy. The hand axe promised shelter from cold. The spear foretold meat. Later, the thrown spear, levered by a simple launcher, promised distance, a safer gap between life and teeth. Strategy grew from failure. A failed drive hunt led to learning the lay of crosswinds. A shattered point taught the value of layered bindings. When injury struck, elders carried knowledge the way others carried water: where to pack snow, how to splint, when to be still. Unity meant more than bodies in a circle. It meant trust, stepping into the river because someone said, "I crossed here yesterday when the water was lower." Chapter 6. The Fight Against Extinction. Extinction was not a single event. It was a pressure, always present. Cold snaps hardened into years. Drought taught the sound of a baby's quiet hunger. Strange hominins appeared at the edges of sight, kin or rivals, sometimes both. The world offered dilemmas more than enemies, puzzles with a cost for every answer. In caves, handprints bloomed on walls, small and large, each a vow. We were here, we mattered, remember us. When a valley failed, they climbed. When a coast rose, they turned inland. When the old ways broke, they forged new ones. Fish traps in braided rivers, snares tucked where game trails pinched, persistence hunts that turned endurance into a weapon. 1,000 near endings, 1,000 small beginnings. Generation after generation, the thread held. Epilogue. What their struggle made of us. We carry them, in the ache of a long run, in the quiet skill of reading weather off the horizon, in the warmth that draws us to any shared light. Their cause and effect world forged our reflex to plan, to cooperate, to imagine the consequence before the act. Fire became hearth, then kiln, then engine, then screen. Still a circle of light against a vast dark. Predators turned into problems, spears into ideas. But the old contract remains: adapt together or vanish alone. If you listen closely, you can still hear it. The steady, stubborn cadence beneath history's noise. Footsteps in ash, moving forward. The story that started in hunger and fear became us. A species shaped by risk, redeemed by memory, and kept alive by the simple courage to take the next step.